These are sidecar outfits designed and used exclusively on Australian speedways.
Okay, right here with me now I've got the current Victorian champion, Shane Soutar, and his swinger Mick Pratt. Both of you, welcome to Alice Springs, and how have you found practice so far?
Well, we've had a few troubles setting the bike up, our carburation, to the weather tonight, but apart from that, we're getting quite used to the track by now, and we're quite happy with it.
Yeah, we've got problems, but we'll get there.
Good on you, Mick. Have you had a chance to have a look at your lap times yet to see how they do compare?
No, we'll leave that till late tonight and before we go to sleep.
$450 riding on the fastest practice time tonight. I understand that possibly Paul Penhaligon, the quickest man at the moment, but you haven't had a look, so you're not too sure how you compare. I'd like to wish you all the best of luck on the weekend. And before we go, is there anybody that you'd like to thank?
Well, we'd like to thank Quickest Air for sponsoring this weekend. Down in Melbourne, Geelong, we'd like to thank List Print and Powerflow Motorcycles that do all the engine work on the bike. And I just hope we have a really good weekend. Everybody's got a good chance, and we're going to try.
I'd also like to thank Northern Territory Fuels for supplying us with methanol for this weekend. It's really great. Thanks a lot.
Hanging right on the piece of practice to the southern end of the main stand here. Shouldn't believe the race. Maybe the silver's just the one person who hold up the whole meeting for it. But anyway, we're looking good for a start, and away we go! On the outside, big time, and Sidney, Jim McConnell missed the start, right into the lead there. Here's Shane Soutar. And it's McConnell here. Oh, yeah, right up there, the one from the big top. But it's Shane Soutar, Mick Pratt in the lead. Average three, running in second place. Back is the fifth tower, back to the rear. Jim McConnell, something out of it. Anthony is running out very, very wide. Now he's out in the line.
Off and racing, and the first one to jump out of the gate that time was Shane Soutar from Victoria. He shoves Dennis Nash out of the road as they move into Pitts Bend, but Nash on the outside of him, out of turn number 2 and down the back straight. Nash and young Soutar are absolutely flying, but Dennis Nash grabs the lead with a brilliant piece of riding. Into the top turn for the first time as he moves out of turn number 4. Dennis Nash on machine number 13 out in front. Back there to Shane Soutar, then back to Ian Jones on number 4. Then back to the rest of the riders. You can just about forget him from here because Dennis Nash is absolutely burning up the raceway. Has won the West Australian title on 6 previous occasions, and he's absolutely burning here at the moment. Out of turn 4, the yellow flag's out. 1 lap left to go at the national capital of speed. Second place, the Victorian ace Shane Soutar, back to Ian Jones. Then back to machine number 10, going along quite well, but there's absolutely no doubt about Dennis Nash. Dennis Nash, the West Australian champion on 6 occasions, moves out of turn number 4. The double checkered flags awaiting this brilliant rider as he thunders down the main straight. Dennis Nash across the line first. Shane Soutar from Victoria in second place. Back to number 4 there in third place. Then further back to number 10 from WA, Fotheringham. 36 there was Des Taylor, and the wins time for the 3-lap, a very fast time, was 1 minute 8.44.
Heat 7 with Ash and Robbins in red, Foreman and Foreman in blue, Soutar and Martin in white, and Hawkin and Summerling in yellow and black.
across the front of the bike as they come off with the line. He certainly makes it work. Shane Soutar and Rob Renwood starting red from 1. From New South Wales, Darren Treloar and Alan Griffiths in blue from 2. The 2 Hall boys, Steve and Tony Hall in white from 3. And Chris Ray and Rob Hardy starting yellow from barrier 4. Starter calling the bikes forward. Our referee tonight, the referee that's refereed World Finals, Sam Bass. Our judge timekeeper is Laurie O'Connell, being assisted by Melissa Bates-Brownsword. Starters out on the centre of the track, Dave Langley and his assistant Renzo Frank. As they line up for the start, Shane Soutar on 2, Ray on 4, Treloar just been moving. Shane Soutar from the pole position gets out in front. Treloar looks for an inside run. He matches it with Shane Soutar as they come out of the corner. Chris Ray's moved up very quickly into 3rd place after getting around the outside of Steve Hall. But Shane Soutar, he's got his hands full. New South Wales #1 rider is really putting the pressure on Shane Soutar. He's got around the outside. Treloar locked it up a little bit too much going into turn number 2. It cost him some ground, and Shane Soutar regains the lead. Shane Soutar back in front. Darren Treloar in 2nd place. Chris Ray behind them in 3rd place. Back in 4th is Steve Hall. Treloar once again comes out of turn 2 very quickly, closes the gap a little bit on Shane Soutar. Soutar trying hard to keep the bike right down low. Treloar's keeping an even tighter line. 1 lap to go. And Treloar once again tailgates Shane Soutar through the turns. He's up on the inside once again. That bike handles beautifully through the turns. Oh, they lock it up together there for a moment. And Shane Soutar holds onto that lead by half a bike length. Here comes Treloar again on the inside. Up to the line they come. Soutar gives it everything and holds on in front of Treloar, back into Chris Ray and Steve Hall in 4th place. Gee, what a race by Treloar and Soutar. Soutar absolutely flying, and that bike of Darren Treloar is on rails. Soutar's cornering beautifully, but Darren Treloar's even cornering even better. He's absolutely sticking to that white line through the turns and really put the pressure on Australia's #1 rider. But Soutar strong enough to hold on. Shane Soutar first, 2nd place to Darren Treloar, and a very creditable 3rd going to Chris Ray.
1, Shane Soutar, gate 2, Paul Pinfold 3, Steve Horton on 4. Away they go, and it's Soutar who gets the corner first. Pinfold goes for line round the outside. Horton trying to cut back up the inside. They're 3 abreast up that back straight. As Soutar then from Pinfold. Pinfold tries to get inside Soutar, shoves Soutar out. Listen to the crowd as Pinfold comes along at the inside, and they're locked shoulder to shoulder there in that pits corner. Pinfold on the inside, Soutar on the outside, Horton in 3rd, and Pinfold hits the front runner, getting Soutar to 2nd, and now Horton gets inside Soutar, but Soutar comes again. Colossal action again in race number 20, as Pinfold then from Horton, and Soutar's left nothing on the outside of that top corner. He's dropped right back from 1st to 3rd. As they move up that pits corner up the back straight, Pinfold with a clear advantage. What a great pity he hadn't got his own machinery here this evening. Pinfold a long way clear of Horton, and Soutar closing back up on Horton. And Soutar trying to get inside Horton, then move on to lap number 4. The 2 Aussies lock shoulder to shoulder into that pits corner for the final time. Pinfold well clear at the front, and Soutar gets inside Horton and retakes the 2nd spot from Horton. Horton trying to hit back on the inside of that top corner. They are locked absolutely shoulder to shoulder coming off that corner as Pinfold wins it. 2nd, Shane Soutar. 3rd spot, Steve Horton. It means that Gary Moon is the Empire champion. That gives Shane Soutar 12 points. He will have to run off with Warren Stanton for 2nd spot.
Sidecar, a new passenger, and an entry into this year's World Sidecar Cup. Shane Soutar is back on track in more ways than one. But things haven't always been this good. This gutsy young guy from Geelong stared death in the face just 2 years ago. A horrifying crash at Italy's Mugello circuit that should have marked the end of Shane Soutar's career. Instead, it's given the Triple Australian champion more determination than ever.
It's something I don't try and think about very often because it doesn't pay to ponder on the crash aspect. But there's a driving force created from the crash. I had never-ending letters from school kids. A little fella that did his paper round sent me his paper round money to help me get back to Europe and all this sort of thing. So it put me in touch with the public.
While all seems well now, the crash took its toll and left Shane with a broken back, fractured pelvis and 2 broken bones in his ankle, as well as serious ligament damage.
I'm not over it. I don't know if I'll ever be over it, because I wake up in the morning feeling like I've been hit by a bus. But,
every morning?
Every morning, yeah.
Really?
But I still go to physiotherapy every day. I work with a personal trainer, and for the psychological part of it, they put me in touch with a sports psychologist that's helped me work through things, which was invaluable.
A severe lack of flexibility in Shane's right ankle has led to some creative engineering within the TechSim team. On par with Mick Doohan's thumb-controlled brake is Shane Soutar's thumb-operated gear change. With an electric window button from a 4-wheel drive, hooked up with air pressure from an onboard compressor, Shane can now change gears without fear of his ankle seizing up.
But yeah, we just all got our heads together and started reaching out to people in pneumatics specialists that we'd never dealt with before, and devised this mechanism, and a little company called Small Core Rewinds in Geelong built the thing for me. And now we've actually got one of their guys on our team, because he comes along with us to make sure it keeps running.
Along with Queensland-based passenger Steve Baines, Soutar's small but dedicated team has plenty of experience. Team manager for the World Cup campaign is Andre Bosman, one of Australia's best ever sidecar competitors.
So here we are, Eastern Creek, lovely sunny Australian day, and an Aussie boy heading overseas to compete in the World Cup series for sidecars. It's not all that big here in Australia, although there's a good fan base here. Yeah. So how hard is it for a guy from Geelong to get over onto the world scene and survive? I mean, how do you eat? How do you travel? How do you know?
It's extremely difficult. The problem we've got, because we don't get the television footage, doesn't come back to Australia, it's not of that much interest to Australian companies. It's very important to the European companies, but they all want to sponsor their own boys. We've approached German firms and they just say, oh, why would we sponsor an Australian? We want to sponsor a German guy. So suddenly, until you get up to the top 10, it's a case you're on your own until you sort of cut it, basically.
And although returning to the toughest sidecar competition in the world will be challenging, if anyone deserves to succeed, it's Shane Soutar.